My dad walked my ex-fiancée down the aisle at her wedding to my younger brother because her father couldn't make it. My father couldn't make his mortgage payment. Either after I stopped paying it, he had to sell the house. Karma's real. All right, Reddit, strap in because this story is absolutely insane. I'm still processing what happened, and honestly, writing it all out might be the only therapy I can afford after the financial bloodletting I'm about to describe. This happened over the course of about 2 years, but the nuclear explosion occurred 6 months ago. Here's how my family imploded, and how I made damn sure everyone involved paid for what they did. I'm Derek, 34 male, and I work as a senior data analyst for a major tech company in Seattle. Good money, around $180,000 base, plus stock options that vest annually. I'm not Elon Musk rich, but I'm comfortable. Own my condo outright, drive a Tesla Model 3, have a healthy investment portfolio. I worked my ass off to get here, grew up lower middle class in a suburb outside Tacoma, went to University of Washington on partial scholarship, worked 2 jobs through college, graduated with honors in computer science. Nothing was handed to me. My younger brother Derek is 29. Total opposite of me in every way that matters. Dropped out of community college after 1 semester, bounced between retail jobs and food service for years, currently works as an assistant manager at a sporting goods store, making maybe $45,000 if he's lucky. Nice guy when he wants to be, but he's always been the golden child in my parents' eyes. Mostly because he stayed close to home while I abandoned the family by moving to Seattle for better opportunities. The family dynamic was always weird. Dad, Richard, is 62, retired from Boeing after 35 years as a machinist. Mom, Linda, is 59, works part-time at a salon doing nails and giving basic manicures to regulars she's known for decades. They live in the same house I grew up in, a modest 3-bedroom ranch in Puyallup that they bought in 1992 for $87,000. But here's the thing. They don't advertise to anyone outside the family. I've been paying their mortgage for the last 8 years. Let me explain that before you think I'm some kind of saint. When I was 26 and finally making decent money after a promotion, Dad had a health scare, needed triple bypass surgery. Insurance covered most of it, but the deductibles and out-of-pocket costs wiped out their savings completely. They were going to lose the house. Mom was crying on the phone every night. Dad was too proud to ask directly, but I could hear the desperation in their voices during our weekly calls. So I stepped in, took over the mortgage payments, $1,847 a month, every month for 8 years straight. That's $177,312 total for those keeping score at home. I never asked for anything in return, never lorded it over them, never even mentioned it at family gatherings, or made them feel like they owed me beyond the basic gratitude any parent should feel. It was just something I did because they're my parents, and I could afford it. They'd tell people they'd figured things out or refinanced at a better rate, but never mentioned their oldest son was keeping a roof over their heads while they spent their retirement money on cruises and new furniture. Derek knew, of course. Dad had told him years ago, probably trying to make him feel guilty about not contributing anything to the household, despite living rent-free with them for 3 years after dropping out of school. Derek's response? Derek makes bank. He can afford it. Never once offered to chip in, even $20. Not when he was living there eating their food, not when he finally got his own place. Not ever. But whatever. I wasn't doing it for recognition or to make my brother feel bad about his life choices. Now let me introduce you to Sophia, 31 female, my ex-fiancée. Met her 4 years ago at a friend's wedding in Bellevue. She was a bridesmaid, I was a groomsman. We hit it off immediately during the rehearsal dinner. Sophia worked as an executive assistant at a prominent law firm downtown Seattle, made decent money, around $75,000 with good benefits. Smart, gorgeous, funny, had this laugh that could light up a room and make everyone around her smile. Latina, long dark hair that cascaded down her back, curves in all the right places, and this way of making you feel like you were the only person in the world when she looked at you. I was smitten from day one. We dated for 2 years before I proposed. Took her to the San Juan Islands, rented a private cabin overlooking the water, made dinner myself, pan-seared salmon with roasted vegetables and a wine reduction because I knew she'd see through some fancy restaurant bullshit and appreciate the personal effort more. Proposed on the beach at sunset with my grandmother's ring that I'd had resized and cleaned professionally. She cried, said yes immediately, posted it on Instagram within 5 minutes with the caption, "I said yes to my forever." Got 847 likes in the first hour. Should have been my first red flag, the need for immediate social media validation. But I was too happy to care about anything except the fact that this incredible woman had agreed to marry me. The engagement period was good at first. We started planning the wedding, looking at venues across the Seattle area, talking about our future in detail. She wanted kids eventually, so did I. We were going to buy a house together, maybe somewhere on the east side near Redmond or Kirkland. Good schools, white picket fence, the whole suburban dream. I was all in, ready to build a life with this woman I'd fallen completely in love with. But then she started spending more time with my family, way more time than seemed normal for someone who'd grown up in Seattle and had her own family nearby. We'd visit my parents maybe twice a month, and she'd always want to stay longer. "Your parents are so sweet," she'd say. "Your mom and I had such a great talk about the wedding flowers." Then it was phone calls with my mom about wedding planning details. Then it was stopping by their house when she was in the area, even though Puyallup was 45 minutes from our place in Seattle, and there was literally no reason for her to be down there. I thought it was nice that she was getting close with my family. My ex before her, a girl I dated for 3 years in my mid-20s, had barely tolerated my parents, always making excuses to skip family dinners or leave early. Sophia seemed genuinely interested in being part of the family, asking my mom for recipes, helping my dad with yard work when we visited, bringing little gifts for no reason. My mom loved her, kept saying I'd finally found the right one, and that she was perfect daughter-in-law material. Dad approved because she was traditional and wanted to be a mother someday. Even Derek seemed to like her, which was unusual because he typically hated anyone I dated, probably out of jealousy. Actually, looking back with clear eyes, Derek seemed to like her a lot. Every family dinner, he'd sit next to her instead of across the table where he usually sat. They'd laugh at inside jokes I wasn't part of, referencing conversations they'd apparently had when I wasn't around. She'd compliment his CrossFit transformation. He'd recently gotten really into fitness and wouldn't shut up about his macros and workout routines. He'd show her videos on his phone, their heads close together, giggling like teenagers. They'd go outside to get some air during gatherings, sometimes for 15 or 20 minutes at a time. The red flags were there, bright and obvious. I just didn't want to see them. When you trust someone completely, you give them the benefit of the doubt. You tell yourself you're being paranoid and insecure. You convince yourself that your fiancé getting along great with your brother is a good thing, not a warning sign that something inappropriate is developing. You rationalize every weird moment because the alternative, that they might be betraying you, is too painful to consider. The unraveling started about a year into our engagement. Sophia started pulling away from me physically and emotionally in ways that were subtle at first, but became increasingly obvious. Sex went from regular and passionate to occasional to rare to practically non-existent. She'd stay late at work more often, claiming the law firm was understaffed and she was covering for someone on maternity leave. Got secretive about her phone, changed her passcode without mentioning it, always kept it face down on tables, would leave the room to take calls even from her mom. Classic cheating signs that I stupidly rationalized as wedding stress and work pressure. Then came the business trip that changed everything. Her firm was sending her to a legal conference in Phoenix for 4 days in early March. I offered to come along, make it a couple's vacation, explore Arizona together, but she insisted it was all work, and I'd be bored sitting around a hotel while she was in sessions all day. Fine. I trusted her completely. She left on a Thursday morning, kissing me goodbye and promising to text me updates about the boring conference sessions. Friday night around 8 p.m., I got a text from my buddy Jake, who lives in Puyallup and works as a contractor. "Dude, is Sophia supposed to be in Phoenix? Because I just saw her car parked outside your parents' house. Distinctive BMW. Recognize the license plate." My blood went cold. My heart started racing. I tried calling her immediately. Straight to voicemail. Texted her asking how the conference was going. No response for hours. Finally, around 11 p.m., she replied, "Sorry, conference is exhausting and the sessions ran late. Going to bed early. Miss you so much," accompanied by a selfie in a generic hotel room that could have been taken anywhere, anytime. No identifying details visible. I couldn't sleep. Spent the whole night staring at the ceiling, mind racing through possibilities. Maybe Jake was wrong. Maybe it was a similar car. Maybe she'd come back early for some reason. But the pit in my stomach told me the truth I didn't want to accept. Saturday morning at 7 a.m., I did something I'm not proud of. I drove to my parents' house unannounced. It was about an hour drive from Seattle, and I spent the entire time hoping I was wrong, hoping there was some innocent explanation. It was 8 a.m. when I arrived. Sophia's BMW was still parked in the driveway next to Derek's truck. I used my key to let myself in quietly. The house was quiet, morning light filtering through the windows. I could hear faint sounds from upstairs. Went up the stairs slowly, each step feeling like walking to my own execution. Heard noises from Derek's old room, the room he'd grown up in, the room I'd slept in as a teenager when visiting home. Opened the door without knocking. There they were, my fiancé and my brother. In the bed I'd slept in during high school visits, under the Star Wars posters Derek still had on the walls. They scrambled to cover themselves, shock and horror on their faces. But the damage was done. The image burned into my brain forever. I stood there for what felt like hours but was probably 30 seconds. Didn't say a word. Couldn't find words adequate for what I was feeling. Just turned around, walked downstairs calmly, and left through the front door. I sat in my car in their driveway for 10 minutes, completely numb. My hands were shaking. My vision was blurry. My entire world had just collapsed and I couldn't process it. Then my phone started blowing up. Sophia. Oh my God. Derek, please let me explain. This isn't what it looks like. Derek. Bro, wait, I can explain. We need to talk. My mom. Derek, please come back inside. Let's talk about this as a family. I didn't respond to any of them. Put my phone on silent. Drove home in a daze, grateful for muscle memory because I honestly don't remember the drive. Walked into my condo, packed all of Sophia's stuff. She'd been slowly moving things in over the past year, into garbage bags. Every dress, every pair of shoes, every toiletry, every book she'd left on my shelves. Called her father, told him coldly to come pick up his daughter's belongings from my front porch within 2 hours, or they'd go to Goodwill. He tried to argue. I hung up on him mid-sentence. Blocked Sophia on everything, phone, text, Instagram, Facebook, email. Then I took off my grandmother's ring that I'd given her. The ring that had been in my family for 3 generations. Put it carefully in a box with tissue paper and mailed it back to myself at my office with a note. Evidence of breach of contract and the date. Yeah, I was already thinking legally. Already protecting myself. Already planning ahead, even through the shock. Sophia's dad came by with a truck around 2 p.m. Didn't say a word to me when I opened the door. I pointed to the bags, he loaded them up silently, and left. I watched from my window, drinking bourbon at 2 p.m. on a Saturday, feeling absolutely nothing. Then my phone wouldn't stop. Calls from my mom, my dad, Derek, Sophia, her friends, mutual friends who'd heard something happened. I ignored everything. Finally, around 6 p.m., I sent one group text to my parents and Derek. I saw what I saw. It's over with Sophia. It's over with this family. Don't contact me again. Monday, I was back at work like nothing happened. Told my close work friends the engagement was off. No details provided, and they respected my privacy. The hard part wasn't the breakup with Sophia. I'd accepted that immediately, ripped off the Band-Aid, felt nothing but disgust. The hard part was realizing my entire family had betrayed me in the worst possible way. Because here's what I found out later through various sources. It had been going on for 6 months. 6 months. They'd been hooking up whenever I wasn't around, sometimes in my parents' house, sometimes in Derek's apartment across town, sometimes in hotel rooms they'd book for afternoon meetings. My parents knew about it. Knew Mom had actually caught them once making out in the laundry room, and Derek begged her not to tell me because he was in love, and she's the one, and we can't help how we feel. Dad found out a month later when he came home early from a fishing trip and found them on the living room couch. Neither of them said a word to me. They let me keep paying their mortgage while harboring and facilitating my brother's affair with my fiancé. They let me plan a wedding, put down deposits totaling thousands of dollars, get excited about my future with Sophia, send out save the dates, book a honeymoon, all while knowing it was built on lies and betrayal. They chose to protect Derek and Sophia's relationship over protecting me from being hurt. The first time one of them tried to defend it to my face was 3 weeks after Discovery Day. Mom finally got through to me by calling from a number I didn't recognize. Probably borrowed a friend's phone. Derek, honey, please just hear me out. No. Derek and Sophia love each other. It just happened. No one meant to hurt you. These things happen sometimes, and they had 6 months to tell me. You had 6 months. Dad had 6 months. Everyone chose to lie to me for half a year. Get fucked, Mom. I hung up. She tried calling back immediately. I blocked that number too. But the calls kept coming from different numbers. My parents had a lot of friends apparently willing to lend their phones. Dad left voicemails about how I was throwing away family over a woman and being dramatic about something that happens all the time. Derek left tearful messages about how he never meant for it to happen, but you can't help who you fall in love with. And I hope someday you'll understand. Sophia sent long emails about how she always cared about me, but found something deeper with Derek and hoped I could find it in my heart to forgive them so we can all move forward as a family. The entitlement was absolutely astonishing. The complete lack of accountability or genuine remorse. The expectation that I would just accept this catastrophic betrayal and move on like nothing significant had happened. Like they'd just forgotten to invite me to dinner, not destroyed my entire life and future. I didn't respond to any of it. Instead, I did something that would have long-term consequences. I kept paying the mortgage for 3 more months, kept everything normal and automatic. Let them think maybe there was hope for reconciliation, that I was just processing my feelings and would eventually come around. Then I got the wedding invitation in June. It showed up at my office. They'd figured out my work address somehow, probably from my LinkedIn profile. Cream-colored cardstock with elegant script, expensive quality paper, clearly no expense spared. Derek Thompson and Sofia Rodriguez request the honor of your presence at their marriage. 6 months after I caught them, they were getting married. The wedding was set for October 12th at a winery in Woodinville that I recognized immediately. Sophia and I had looked at that exact venue for our wedding, decided it was too expensive at $15,000 for the venue rental alone, but apparently cost wasn't an issue when you weren't paying for it yourself. But here's the detail that made my blood boil, that made me see red, that crystallized my decision about what needed to happen. Sophia will be escorted down the aisle by Richard Thompson, who graciously agreed to step in after her father's health prevented him from attending. Her father was fine, perfectly healthy. I'd checked his Facebook. He was posting about golf games and barbecues and a recent fishing trip to Alaska. This was just another slap in the face, another humiliation, another deliberate twist of the knife. My dad, walking my ex-fiancée down the aisle to marry my brother. The symbolism was too perfect, too calculated. They weren't just betraying me. They were rubbing my face in it, making sure I knew exactly how little I mattered to them. That's when I made my decision. I was done being the good son, done being the family ATM machine, done allowing them to use my generosity to fund their lives while they actively destroyed mine with zero consequences. I called my bank, set up an appointment with my financial advisor, had one simple question. If I stop paying someone else's mortgage, what happens? The answer was exactly what I expected. They'd have 90 days before foreclosure proceedings started, assuming they couldn't make the payments themselves. They'd get notices, warnings, chances to catch up. But if they had no savings and couldn't afford the payment, they'd lose the house. It would go to auction. Everything they'd built would be gone. I did the math carefully. Dad's pension from Boeing was maybe $3,200 a month after taxes. Mom's part-time salon work brought in another $1,500 on a good month. Total household income, $4,700. The mortgage payment I'd been covering, $1,847. But that wasn't their only expense. Property taxes, utilities, car payments, insurance, food, medical costs, everything else, easily another $2,500 monthly. That left them with maybe $350 a month in discretionary income if they were lucky and careful. They couldn't afford the house without me. Not even close. Not even if they cut every luxury and lived like paupers. The numbers simply didn't work. I pulled up a detailed spreadsheet and calculated everything I'd paid over 8 years. $177,312 in mortgage payments alone. Plus, I'd covered their property taxes twice when they couldn't afford them. Another $8,500 total. Helped replace their roof 3 years ago when it was leaking. $12,000. Bought Dad a used truck when his died and he couldn't afford a new one. $15,000. Paid for Mom's dental work that insurance didn't cover. $6,800. Christmas gifts every year, birthday gifts, helping with groceries when money was tight, countless dinners I'd paid for when visiting. Total $224,612 I'd given them over the years. Not loaned. Given freely. Never asked for a penny back, never made them feel guilty, never threw it in their faces. And they repaid me by facilitating my brother's affair with my fiancée for 6 months, then expecting me to graciously accept them getting married while my father literally walked her down the aisle. Fuck that. Fuck all of that. I logged into my bank account and changed the automatic mortgage payment that had been running for 8 years. Instead of going to their mortgage company, it would now go into a separate savings account I'd set up specifically for this purpose. They'd never know until the mortgage company sent them a notice that payment was missed. I set the change to take effect starting September 1st. The wedding was October 12th. Perfect timing. Then I waited and watched. September 15th, my dad called from yet another new number. I let it go to voicemail. Derek, son, we need to talk. The mortgage company says we missed a payment. There must be some kind of mistake with your bank. Maybe a technical glitch or something. Can you call them and get this sorted out? Thanks, son. Love you. The casual assumption that it was a mistake. The complete certainty that I was still their dutiful son who'd fix everything. The total lack of awareness that anything had fundamentally changed between us. The audacity of ending with "love you" after what they'd done. I deleted the voicemail without a second thought. September 20th. Mom texted from a number I hadn't blocked yet. Derek, please call us about the mortgage. This isn't funny anymore. We got a second notice from the bank. Please respond. I replied with one word. No. Then blocked that number too. September 30th. I got a text from Derek's phone. Dude, seriously? You're gonna let mom and dad lose their house over this? Be a man and put your feelings aside. They're your parents. Family is family. My response, be a man and pay your own family's bills. Or better yet, ask your fiancée to help since she loves being part of the family so much. Oh wait, she makes $75,000 and you make $45,000 combined? That's not even enough to cover the mortgage payment I was making, much less all their other expenses. Guess you should have thought about that before fucking her in my parents' house while I was paying to keep a roof over your heads. I blocked him and felt absolutely zero guilt. October arrived. The wedding was scheduled for October 12th at 4 p.m. I obviously wasn't going. I wouldn't have gone if they'd paid me. But I had friends in Puyallup who were keeping me updated. Small town mentality, word travels fast, and several people I'd grown up with were genuinely appalled by what my family had done to me. October 3rd, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Against my better judgment, I answered. Derek. It was Sophia's voice. I almost hung up immediately. But morbid curiosity got the better of me. I wanted to hear what she could possibly have to say. What? I know you're still upset. Upset? That's the word you're going with? Upset? I know this is hard for you, Derek. But Derek and I really hope you can find it in your heart to come to the wedding. You're his brother. Family is everything. We want you there to support us. I actually laughed out loud. Couldn't help it. Family is everything? That's rich coming from you, Sophia. Really rich. Derek, what we did was wrong. We know that. We're not denying it was wrong. But we're in love. Real, genuine love. Something I never actually felt with you, if I'm being totally honest. And there it was. The real truth beneath all the excuses. Not that they'd fallen for each other, despite trying to fight it. Not that it was a terrible mistake that spiraled out of control. They'd been lying to me our entire relationship because I was never what she really wanted. I was just convenient, or safe, or a placeholder. Thanks for the honesty, I said, my voice completely flat. Now let me be honest with you. I will never attend your wedding. I will never forgive you. I will never speak to my brother again, or my parents for that matter. And I hope every single day of your marriage, you remember that you built it on lies and destroyed someone who genuinely loved you. I hope it haunts you at night. I hope Derek wonders if you'll do to him what you did to me when someone better comes along. I hope you lie awake knowing you're both terrible people who deserve each other. She started crying. That's so cruel, Derek. You know what's cruel, Sophia? Fucking your fiancé's brother while planning a wedding. You know what's cruel? Letting someone plan a future with you while you're betraying them every week? You know what's cruel? Inviting someone to watch you marry the person you cheated on them with, and having his father walk you down the aisle. But sure, I'm the cruel one for stating basic facts. Have a wonderful wedding. I hope you and Derek and my parents enjoy yourselves while my dad walks you down that aisle. I hope the photos are beautiful. I hope you remember them forever. I hung up, blocked that number. Felt absolutely amazing. Felt powerful for the first time in months. October 10th, 2 days before the wedding, I got an email from my dad. He'd somehow figured out my work email. Derek, I understand you're hurt and angry, but you need to know. The bank is threatening foreclosure proceedings. We missed 3 payments in a row. We're trying to work with them, but they want everything caught up plus late fees. That's over $6,000 we don't have. Your mother is beside herself. I know you don't want to talk to us right now, but we desperately need your help. I'm asking you, father to son, man to man. Please, we'll lose the house. I read it 3 times. Felt absolutely nothing. No sympathy, no guilt, no regret. Then I replied, Dad, I'm not going to help. You chose to support Derek's relationship with my fiancé for 6 months without telling me. You chose to let me keep paying your bills while you betrayed me. You chose to walk Sophia down the aisle instead of standing up for your son who's been taking care of you financially for 8 years. These are all choices with consequences. The consequence is you lose the house you couldn't afford without me anyway. You should have thought about that before facilitating the betrayal. And for the record, I was asking you father to son for basic loyalty and honesty a year ago. You failed spectacularly. So you'll get exactly the same from me now. Nothing. Enjoy the wedding. I hope it's worth losing your home over. I hit send and felt a massive weight lift off my shoulders. The wedding happened on schedule. I didn't go, obviously. Wouldn't have attended if my life depended on it. But my friend Kate did. She'd been friends with Derek growing up and got an invite she couldn't gracefully decline. She took photos for me discreetly, which sounds petty, but I wanted documentation of everything. The venue was beautiful in the photos. Autumn leaves, vineyard views, sunset lighting. Sophia wore a white dress that probably cost $3,000 minimum. Derek wore a suit that definitely came from Men's Warehouse. My mom looked happy in the photos Kate sent, dabbing at her eyes during the ceremony. My dad looked stressed and uncomfortable, probably because he knew they were about to lose their house but couldn't admit it to anyone. And yes, Dad walked Sophia down the aisle. Kate sent me that specific photo. Sophia beaming with joy, holding Dad's arm in her white dress, veil flowing behind her. Dad looking awkward, but trying to smile. Derek at the altar looking like he'd won the lottery, like he couldn't believe his luck. The caption on Sophia's Instagram post, "When your father-in-law steps up to give you away because your own father couldn't be there, you know you've married into the right family. Thank you, Richard, for making this day so special. Blessed Arachir family is everything." 260 comments, all congratulating her and calling it beautiful. No one mentioned me. It was like I'd never existed in their lives. Like I'd been erased from the narrative completely. I saved the photo. Sent it to my lawyer with a note. Documentation of family relationships for any future legal matters that may arise. She replied, "Smart thinking. Keep documenting everything. You never know what you might need." November came fast. I got a letter forwarded from my condo management. Someone had sent it to my old address, and they'd forwarded it. It was from my mom, handwritten on floral stationery. "Derek, I don't even know what to say to you anymore. The bank filed official foreclosure last week. We have 60 days to get out of our home. Your father and I have lived in this house for 30 years. You were born when we lived here. Derek grew up here. All our memories are in these walls. And you're really going to let us lose it over something that doesn't even involve you anymore? Sophia and Derek are married now. That's done. You need to move on with your life. We're your parents. We raised you, fed you, clothed you, put a roof over your head for 18 years. Doesn't that count for something? Your father is devastated. He won't eat. I cry every night. Derek says we can live with him and Sophia, but their apartment is tiny, and I can't imagine losing our home after 3 decades. Please, Derek. I'm begging you as your mother. Help us one more time. I read it once carefully. Put it in a folder labeled Family Correspondence. Didn't respond. Didn't feel anything except maybe a slight sense of satisfaction that consequences were actually happening. The holidays were weird that year. First Thanksgiving and Christmas without family in my entire life. I'd never missed a family holiday before. Instead of the usual dysfunction in Puyallup, I went to Cabo with 3 friends from work. We stayed at an all-inclusive resort, drank too many margaritas, got sunburned on the beach, had an incredible time. I posted photos of us on Instagram. Beautiful sunsets, cocktails, us laughing and clearly having fun. My mom saw them according to one of my friends who told me she'd been asking about me through mutual connections, wanting to know how I could be so heartless. December 30th, New Year's Eve, I got a Facebook message from Derek. I hadn't blocked him there because I rarely used Facebook. "Derek, it's me. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need to say something. Mom and Dad lost the house last week. They're living with me and Sophia now in our tiny apartment. It's really cramped, and honestly, it's putting serious strain on my marriage already. Sophia didn't sign up for having my parents living with us as newlyweds. Mom and Dad are both severely depressed. They lost everything because of you, man. I get that you're mad at me, at us, at what happened. But taking it out on them like this is beyond fucked up. They didn't do anything to you personally." I stared at that message for a long time. They didn't do anything to you personally. The absolute delusion. The complete inability to see their own role in this disaster. I typed out a response, taking my time to make sure I said exactly what needed to be said. "Derek, let me break this down for you clearly since you seem genuinely confused about cause and effect, actions, and consequences. I paid Mom and Dad's mortgage for 8 years straight. $177,312 total. That's 96 consecutive months where I made sure they had a home without missing a single payment. I never asked for a penny back. I never made them feel bad about needing help. I never lorded it over them. I just did it quietly because they're my parents, and I could afford it, and I loved them. You and Sophia started fucking behind my back for 6 months while I was engaged to her, planning our wedding. Mom and Dad knew about it. They caught you, they found out, and they chose not to tell me. They let me keep paying their bills while actively facilitating your affair with my fiancé. When I found out by catching you myself, I stopped paying. Cause and effect. Actions have consequences. They chose to betray me. I chose to stop funding their lives. These are adult consequences for adult choices. You want to know what they didn't do to me? They didn't show me basic loyalty. They didn't give me the respect of honesty. They didn't protect me from my own brother's betrayal. They didn't prioritize their son who'd been taking care of them financially for nearly a decade. They chose you over me. They chose Sophia over me. They chose to let you two be happy at my expense. Instead, they facilitated your affair. They kept your secret. They let me plan a wedding that would never happen. They walked her down the aisle at your wedding after she cheated on me with you. They made their choice. So now they get to live with those choices. They get to live with you, in your cramped apartment, with your wife who apparently already regrets marrying you, dealing with the strain on your marriage. That's called karma, Derek. That's called consequences. They didn't lose everything because of me. They lost everything because of them, because of you, because of Sophia. You all made deliberate choices that destroyed our family. You all thought I'd just take it and keep paying the bills like a good little ATM who doesn't have feelings. You were catastrophically wrong. I don't feel guilty. I don't feel bad. I feel free. Free from a family that never actually valued me beyond what I could provide financially. Free from a brother who betrayed me in the worst possible way. Free from the responsibility of taking care of people who clearly didn't care about me. Enjoy your cramped apartment. Enjoy your parents' depression. Enjoy the strain on your marriage. Enjoy every single consequence of your actions. You earned all of it. And when your marriage falls apart, because it will, marriages built on infidelity and betrayal usually do, remember this conversation. Remember that you destroyed your family, your brother's trust, and your parents' home for someone who'll probably do to you exactly what she did to me. Don't ever contact me again. You're not my brother anymore. They're not my parents. You're all just people I used to know who taught me valuable lessons about trust, loyalty, and when to walk away. Lesson learned. I hit send, blocked him on Facebook immediately. Felt absolutely incredible. January brought some interesting news through the grapevine via Kate and other Puyallup connections. Derek and Sophia were fighting constantly. The stress of having his parents living with them in a one-bedroom apartment was destroying their newlywed bliss. Sophia was making increasingly bitter comments to friends about how, this isn't what I signed up for, and I married Derek, not his entire family. Derek was working overtime constantly, picking up every extra shift possible to try to afford a bigger place. Mom was crying frequently. Dad was withdrawn and barely speaking to anyone, clearly depressed about losing the house. The house sold at foreclosure auction in February for $285,000, about $70,000 less than market value because foreclosure sales always go cheap. Some investment company bought it as a rental property. 30 years of memories, gone. My parents got nothing from the sale. Everything went to pay off the remaining mortgage balance and bank fees. Kate sent me photos from a distance of the moving trucks. Mom looked like she'd aged 10 years and 4 months, gray and exhausted. Dad looked completely broken, defeated in a way I'd never seen him. Derek was carrying boxes, looking stressed and miserable. I looked at those photos and felt nothing. Maybe that makes me a bad person, but they'd chosen this path. They'd made their decisions knowing I was the one keeping them afloat financially. They gambled that I'd keep paying no matter what they did to me. They lost. March brought the best news I could have hoped for. Sophia filed for divorce from Derek. 4 months of marriage, done. Kate got all the details from mutual friends since she was still connected to that social circle. Apparently, Sophia had come to a harsh realization. Derek couldn't provide the lifestyle she wanted or expected. The cramped apartment with his broke parents living there. The constant financial stress. The reality of being married to a sporting goods assistant manager with no prospects or ambition. The novelty and excitement of their forbidden love wore off incredibly fast when faced with actual adult life and responsibilities. Derek was absolutely devastated according to reports. Called me from yet another new number, sobbing, begging me to talk to him. I listened to the voicemail once. Derek, man, I know you'll probably never forgive me, but you were right. About everything. Sophia left me. She's already seeing some lawyer from her firm. Some guy who makes like $300,000 a year. Mom and Dad won't stop blaming me for losing the house. I lost my brother, my wife, my parents' respect, their home, everything. I fucked up so bad. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do. I can't afford this apartment alone with mom and dad here. Everything's falling apart. I'm so sorry. I deleted it without responding. Felt nothing. April brought another message, this time from Sophia herself via my work email, that she'd somehow found again. Derek, I know I'm probably the last person on earth you want to hear from, but I need to say this and you deserve to hear it. You were right about absolutely everything. Derek and I were selfish and horrible. I threw away something real and stable for something that felt exciting in the moment, but was actually nothing. The guilt ate at me every single day of my marriage. I couldn't stop thinking about what we did to you. I couldn't respect Derek because of how we got together. I couldn't respect myself. The marriage was doomed from the start because it was built on lies and betrayal. I just wanted you to know. I'm truly sorry. Really. Genuinely sorry. For what it's worth, I think about you sometimes and wonder what our life would have been like if I hadn't ruined everything. You were good to me. Better than I deserved. I hope you find someone who treats you the way you deserve to be treated. You're a good person, Derek. A better person than all of us combined. I read it carefully, saved it to my evidence folder in case I ever needed documentation of her admission of wrongdoing and fault. Didn't respond. Didn't feel any satisfaction from her apology. It was too late and meant nothing. Here's where we are now, 6 months after that wedding. My parents are still living with Derek in his tiny one-bedroom apartment where he sleeps on the couch and they have the bedroom. They've put their names on waiting list for senior affordable housing, but the wait is 18 to 24 months minimum. Dad's health has deteriorated significantly. The stress and depression took their toll. He had another minor heart incident in March. Mom barely talks to Derek. The resentment is palpable according to everyone who sees them. Their relationship is destroyed. Derek works 60-hour weeks trying to pay for everything on his $45,000 salary. He's got his parents living with him indefinitely, child support to Sophia, found out she was pregnant when she filed for divorce, paternity is legitimately questionable, and therapy bills because he had a complete breakdown in March requiring hospitalization. He looks absolutely terrible in photos Kate occasionally shows me. Gained probably 40 pounds, looks exhausted and decades older, completely defeated. Sophia is engaged again, to that lawyer from her firm. Some guy named Brandon who makes $300,000 annually, according to his LinkedIn. She looks happy in her Instagram photos, which are still public, and I occasionally check out of pure morbid curiosity. She's visibly pregnant, showing off a new engagement ring that probably cost more than my Tesla. The baby could be Derek's or Brandon's. Timeline's conveniently unclear. She posted a quote last week. Sometimes the wrong choices lead you to the right place. Sure, Sophia, keep telling yourself that. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.